Story by Catherine Rogers, illustrated by Rolf Voltz. I remember Hurricane Katrina. I turned 12 the week before the storm hit New Orleans on Monday, August 29th, 2005. The mayor had said to evacuate, but our car hadn't been working right, and now it wouldn't start at all. Uncle Louie and Aunt Linnell stopped off on their way out of town, their little fishing boat in tow. "We're so sorry we can't take you," Uncle Louie told me earnestly. "With Lisa, Raylonda, and Meemaw, there's 5 of us already." "Plus the cat," my cousin Lisa chimed in. Everyone piled out of the car and exchanged hugs. Close read. Analyze characters. Underline details that help you tell how Uncle Louie and Aunt Linnell feel about evacuating without Desiree and her dad. Remember, think of something that happened in the past. Aunt Linnell put an arm around me and whispered, "I hope it blows right past." Dad said, "We'll be brave." "Get in touch if things look bad," Uncle Louie said. "I can come back." I wasn't scared. Most years, hurricanes came and went, and it was no big deal. For a kid, preparing for a hurricane was exciting. Grocery stores and gas stations had long lines of people hurrying to buy supplies and fuel. At home, we put sandbags on the porches to stop water from coming in under the doors. Sometimes, when the city pumps couldn't drain storm water fast enough, our street flooded. We'd had water in the house twice. We moved Meemaw's quilts onto a high shelf and stowed the patio chairs in the carport so they wouldn't blow around. Last, Dad pulled down the attic stairs, climbed up, and set a hatchet on the floor inside. "What's that for?" I asked, although I knew the hatchet is a local tradition. Close read. Vocabulary and context. Use context clues in paragraphs 11 to 13 to determine the meaning of hatchet. Underline the context clues that support your definition. The water can rise so fast, you have to escape into the attic. You use a hatchet to chop your way out after the storm. I knew stories about people doing that after Hurricane Betsy. I remember lying in bed before dawn, listening to Katrina's rain, thunder, and wind, too excited and scared to sleep. When I heard Dad making coffee, I got up. "Look at the rain under the streetlight. It's blowing every direction, not just sideways and down," I exclaimed, watching from the window. Then the power went out, streetlight and all. Close read. Make connections. Highlight details that help you connect the narrator with characters in other texts you've read who are excited or worried. We sat and ate breakfast in the dark, listening to the storm. "Do you think everything's okay?" I asked uneasily. "You worried, Desiree?" "Me too." "What do we do when we're scared?" I smiled at him and raised a big, tight fist. I said out loud, "Brave." We fist bumped. "That's right, D. Be brave, and we'll be okay." Close read. Analyze characters. Underline details that tell you how Desiree feels about the storm. After the rain slowed to a drizzle, we went outside. The morning light was strange because the wind had torn the leaves off the trees. They were everywhere, swirling in the flooded street. Dad said, "The rain's stopping. The street ought to drain soon." "When will the power come back on?" I asked. "Dunno, Desiree. Gotta have patience," Dad said. Inside, I used Dad's laptop to check the news. Reporters said we'd dodged the bullet. I emailed Lisa and Raylonda to tell them all about the storm. I said it had been scary, but we figured things looked okay now. Close read. Make connections. Highlight details that help you connect Dad or Desiree to a brave character in another text you've read. Patience. The ability to wait for something calmly. Figured. Believed or thought. "Desiree, you'll drain the battery," Dad said. I shut down the computer and went outside again, Dad, come look. The water was farther up the lawn, and it wasn't going down. It was rising. Soon it reached the porches, then the sandbags. Inside, we hurried to stack furniture and move photo albums and other treasures to the attic. The sandbags weren't enough, though. Water started coming in around the baseboards and was rising fast. Close read. Vocabulary and context. Use context clues within the sentence to determine the meaning of the word signal in paragraph 35. Highlight the context clues that support your definition. When the water was knee-deep inside, Dad tried to call 911. Over and over he tried. He tried Uncle Louie too, but never got a signal. He turned off the phone to save the battery. It's up to us, he said. He gave me a serious look and held up a fist. I shakily uttered, brave, and we bumped fist. The water kept rising. Should we go to the attic now? I asked. No point in chopping our way out if we can walk out. I bet we can get to the interstate. What we didn't know was the river levees and city pumps had failed, and New Orleans was flooding. The hurricane had pushed water from the Gulf of Mexico into the river, and now the river was pouring into the city. Close read. Analyze characters. Underline evidence in paragraph 35 that reveals that the narrator's father knows the situation is serious. We filled a backpack with water bottles and granola bars and stuffed dry clothes and shoes in big black trash bags. We set out, sloshing through the waist-deep water that covered the neighborhood. The trash bags were hard to hold, and they grew heavy, but we trudged on. We often tripped, since we couldn't see curbs or trash cans or anything else under the muddy water. I cut my leg on a metal sign that had blown down. We saw balls of live ants floating in the water. Dogs whined and barked at us from the tops of cars and picnic tables. We saw a few other people, including some on a high porch. We waved at them, and some far away paddling kayaks. Close read. Make connections. Highlight details that help you connect the story's events to a difficult journey in another text you've read. Everything was strangely quiet. We grew hot and tired. Every route we tried led to higher water. The third time we changed course, I lost my temper, and even though I knew better, I began to complain. Dad, this is crazy, I started to cry. We'll never get out of here. Dad looked like he was trying not to cry too. Then he took my hand and helped me onto the roof of a flooded van. He climbed up beside me, and we ate granola bars and drank water. Close read. Analyze characters. Underline details that help you understand the narrator's feelings. Temper. A person's feelings or expressions of anger. Complain. Express feelings of unhappiness. We can do this, D. Come on. He held up a fist. I shook my head, swallowing hard. What do we say? Brave. I gave him a weak fist bump. Brave, he said, putting an arm around me. Close read. Analyze characters. Underline details that reveal how the narrator and her father feel about each other. Explain what these details tell you about their relationship. Dad turned on his phone. It showed a signal. He called Uncle Louie. Louie's loud, "Where are you?" came over the line. We're okay, but everything's flooded, Dad began. But where are you? I'm at your house with the boat. I came back when I heard about the levees. Dad whooped with joy and squeezed me tighter. Dad described where we were, and about half an hour later, we were safely aboard the little fishing boat, headed for the interstate. Close read. Make connections. Highlight details that help you connect Dad's feelings to the feelings of a character in another text who experiences strong emotions.